So, as it is tradition in Buddhist countries, let's start our Dhamma discussion by reciting the qualities of the Buddha and paying respect to the Buddha in brief. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So we are here again to discuss about Dhamma or scriptures or even about meditation. And so I would like to invite you, Michelle, and Johanna for any kind of question or topic you'd like to talk about.
Okay. I have been thinking about one thing since you gave us the instruction about the relaxation. I felt it was really beneficial because before I had the tension in my head, and when I started to doing that body scan, it disappeared after some days, and it was such a relief for me. But I can still see that it comes back during the days, like when I work, when I walk, I still try to be mindful, but then it comes back and my meditation becomes like just the relaxation to get to release that tension. But it goes, most of the time it goes faster, but it's still like I get a little bit frustrated when it comes back. I don't like the tension. So if you have any suggestions for me or how I could maintain that like peaceful state during the days, or if that is just a part of the practice and it will go away eventually.
Yes, it's part of the practice.
Okay. So my question is answered. Then I just keep doing what I have been doing. And doing the metta meditation.
Are you able to generate peace in yourself?
Yeah. And I feel that when the tension goes away, or even when the tension is there, I actually feel calm, like when it is during the meditation, but I get a little bit irritated when it comes during the day. So I dislike it, but I see also that I get calmer, faster, and I can start with metta earlier, and it usually longer times now. And then it get a little bit, or I get distracted and I start over with the relaxation again, and then go back to metta when I feel calm.
It's very good. So at this point you are doing metta for yourself only, right?
Yes.
So you can start to extend the metta for others. So you can, when you are sure that you are in peace, that you are satisfied, you can extend metta to all beings in the room where you are at the present, then to the building, or to the land where you are, then to the if you are in a monastery, then it's monastery. If it is whole some land or some place such as school or yard of a company or anything like that, or then of course again you can extend it to the village, to the town, to the district, to the region, to the division, to the country, to the continent, to the planet, to the universe, to the multiverse, as you like. It's important, however, to remember that there are a lot of beings, not just the visible beings, but there could be invisible beings, such as very little insects, or even, and that depends on your beliefs and ideas, such as ghosts and deities, and so on and so on. So then, as the metta is extended larger and larger, then we simply accept more beings with that in the spatial understanding. All right, so we are now discussing meditation with Michelle, and I'm suggesting, or I'm extending actually Michelle's instruction of metta to the extending. So now with Michelle, we are going to extend metta from ourselves to other beings. So for Michelle again, Michelle, you can therefore extend your metta from yourself to the beings gradually in the place where you are, and more until the universe or whatever else you like to imagine. And with that, you can come to the stage where all beings, including you, can be happy or can be in peace. So again, just like before, you would stay with relaxation if no happiness or satisfaction is arising, but as soon as they arise, you would again extend the metta to all beings. And then as soon as you once extend to all beings, then you go back to yourself for a few moments to recheck that you have happiness in yourself, and then from then onward you would do metta for all beings, including you, with the sentence, "May all beings, including me, be happy." Is that clear?
Yes.
So you would do only one time the extending of metta, and then again back to yourself. So, for example, if relaxation takes 3 minutes, then this extending should also take around 3 to 5 minutes, and then you go back to yourself. Altogether, the preparation should take around 10 minutes. The remaining 50 minutes, 50 minutes, you would dwell in happiness or in peace for all beings, including you, with the sentence, "May all beings, including me, be in peace." Or if you feel happiness, then "May all beings, including me, be happy." Yes, so you would repeat that sentence in your mind, without any sound coming out, but in your mind you would repeat it again and again.
Okay, thank you.
Now, what's your meditation at this point?
Well, it's the same as last week. I'm not in a very good place or state right now, so I know I should even more. I should be meditating right now, but.
So how often or how much do you meditate?
No, it's still just, just trying. It's more the awareness. It's not me sitting down for an hour anymore. So I think I'm very, very affected by the whole pregnancy and everything that's going on. So it's hard to understand the mind and the body right now. It always is, but even more so now.
So what do you do actually at the time when you would be sitting in meditation?
Probably rest or sleep, because I still sleep a lot, as you know. Very tired and yeah. But I mean, my mind is still there, so I will.
Well, you do not need to sit for the meditation now at this point. Actually, if you're lying down, it's also fine. So you can lie down and you can relax while you're lying down. You can select a time when you don't fall asleep, when you are really fresh, and you can lie down and simply relax from the top of the head to the tips of the toes until you really feel peaceful, satisfied. And then when you feel that you have peace, satisfaction, then you can work on that peace, satisfaction for yourself. So you would just wish yourself, may I be in peace, okay, or may I be satisfied.
Yep.
And then if that is there, if the peace is there, if the satisfaction is there, then of course you can share it with others. So you can share it with the baby, you can share it with the beings in the room, and then beings in the building, and beings in the yard, and in the village, and in the town, country, in the continent, planet, and in the universe, multiverse, as you like. And then you go back again to yourself, and then you let all beings, including you, be happy or in peace by the simple sentence, may all beings, including me, be in peace.
Yep. We'll do that. Thank you.
Yes, I think at this point this instruction actually would be best. You do not need to spend much time with the preparation. Most important is the last stage, so that you have as much time as possible for the last stage of repeating that sentence and applying the mind to the object. We will let go of the sentence later. Now at this point the sentence will be useful for us, so that the mind has an anchor. The mind should have an anchor to to be easier established at the object, at the meditation object.
Yep.
Then later, when the mind gets easier concentrated, better concentrated, then of course we do not need the anchor, and we let go of the sentence.
Yep. Sounds good.
So that's for Michelle as well. If you feel that the sentence is, coarse, unnecessary, that you can get concentrated so well that you just don't need any anchor, then just let go away of the sentence and meditate without the sentence. There is more detail how to meditate without sentence, but at this point, I think it's good for you to meditate with the sentence.
Okay.
All right. Gil, are you meditating? Do you meditate?
I try to. You're asking right now or in general?
In general.
Yes, so I like to listen to you when I meditate. Yes, I do meditate. Not as much as I would like to, I must say. That's kind of part of my question for you. I've got a question. I've got two questions actually. Um, but yeah, so I guess should I ask you the question?
Of course.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I've got an intention to meditate more, but this is the last year since I've seen you at this time last year. Obviously, it's been a very busy year for me in different areas, and I often make the intention of wanting to meditate, and I make a commitment. I'm okay, I'm going to meditate twice a day. 20 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, whatever, and it's very hard for me to actually stick to this intention. So that's the first question. I mean, I think part of the answer is just willpower, just making a decision and sticking to it. But I'm just interested, what do you have to say about making an intention to meditate and then finding it very difficult to stick to its intention?
It's good to have, again, an anchor also for sitting down, not only for the mind to settle at an object, but also for the body to settle at a meditation time. And for that, it's good to choose a fixed time and fixed place. If the place is somewhere near, it's good. So if the place is like next to your bed, in the bedroom, or somewhere where you go anyway so that you can see the place, prepared cushion or prepared sitting mat, and let's say the statue of the Buddha or some candle or anything like that, it's really good to prepare these so that when you see them you think, maybe I could meditate. So this would remind you always of the time to meditate, and also the fixed time. So it's good to have a fixed time. For me, it works. Morning is best. So when I was a layperson, that was around 10 years ago, I would meditate, especially in the morning. So I would wake up in the morning at 6. I would be meditating from 6 to 7. I would go to school at 8 o'clock or a short time before 8. But I would do meditation 6 to 7 or 5 to 6 or 5 to 6:30. It depends on how long the meditation was. And then I had yet another meditation in the evening, which would be also 1 hour or 1.5 hours. So this way it is possible to find time to meditate, have a fixed place and a fixed time. But it is also possible to make arrangement with others which would encourage you to be there. Because if you have anybody who is meditating together with you, then if you decide not to meditate, then the other person, will poke. They would poke you. Hey, come on! What are you doing? Now we are meditating. Don't be lazy. And then you would have to come and meditate anyway. So it's good to have a group where you come and meditate with them. Let's say at least once a week or twice a week. Depends, of course, on where are the people coming from. So if these people are from the same house or from the same apartment, then of course twice a week or 7 times a week it's just great. If the people are coming from different places in the town, then obviously once a week is good. I heard, so you are now in Melbourne? You stay in Melbourne?
Yes.
I heard that there is a Buddhist center in Melbourne. Have you heard of it?
There's a few, yeah. There's quite a few. Which one are you referring to?
I don't know. I know there is one. And maybe you may like to go to the Buddhist center and see whether they are doing group meditation at a certain time every week.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you can join, or if there are other centers, you can get together some friends or anybody and meditate. This is very, very good to support regular practice.
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, all those things make sense. I guess it's just, I guess it's just making that inner decision that I am gonna put effort to do this, and you know what I mean. Like all these things that you're saying like make perfect sense, but it's almost like I feel I just need to be clear with myself that I actually do want to make this a priority. You know.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you meditate, there are so many benefits for your daily life. Number one, you can be mindful. It's easier to be mindful if you meditate. So then if you're mindful, I think you already know the benefits of being mindful. So when you're mindful, you can save time by not doing things which are not necessary, or by doing things more skillfully. You can save unnecessary troubles with people because you discuss with them in the best way. You are more witted, you are smarter, and you can remember things better. And in your profession, I think that's very useful. And also, your things, automatically become more successful. So it's a little bit like magic, if we are mindful, and especially if we do metta meditation, then things just happen the way we want them to happen, and sometimes even better than we want them to happen. So sometimes I think maybe this could happen and it would be good, and then it actually turns out even better than I would ever expect it. So yes, that's the power of metta and mindfulness as well. So if the two are there together, then it's just the best combination. And if you can find an hour for meditation, that's good. If you can find 2 hours, it's better. Also, you can, there are books about shortening the time for sleep, and therefore you would gain some more time for meditation. So I think maybe you know these already, like not drinking much water when you're going to sleep, and drinking a lot of water when you wake up early in the morning. And I'm sure you're already avoiding, coffee, tea, Coca-Cola, and smoking, and drinking alcohol, and taking drugs. And so these, of course, help to reduce the time of sleeping, so that you have more energy. And mindfulness itself, of course, mindfulness, happiness, they of course also help to increase energy. And with that you can reduce the time of sleeping. So when people meditate, or if they are satisfied and peaceful, it's usually possible for them to sleep just 4 hours or 5 hours a day and still be filled with energy, really, really satisfied. Now, if your work is stressful, then it doesn't mean that you should sleep more. It actually means that you should meditate more, so that you avoid that stress and therefore are more peaceful. And if you can find some 15 minutes, some 15-minute, interims between bigger parts of the day, as I have explained in the talk last week, then I believe this would be a very powerful key to more energy. Did you think about making those 15 minutes interims?
Yes, I was going to say thank you for answering my question last week, and I thought your answer was very practical and very good. I have early in the year, I would go during lunchtime, and there's a beautiful park opposite my work. So I would go and do walking meditation for about 15 minutes, and I got very good results from that. But in the last few months, my work has been so busy that often, I have a very quick lunch. But I mean, yeah, I think I can make it an intention to incorporate, 10 or 15 minutes once or twice a day. I think it'll be a good thing to experiment with.
Do you know Pomodoro technique?
Mm-hmm.
Have
Yeah.
you heard of Pomodoro technique? P like Paul, POMO, D like David, DORO, Pomodoro.
I'm
So
putting it
you would,
into Google now.
yes,
Pomodoro.
yes,
Oh,
you can
yes, I
Google it
have
out.
heard of it. Yes,
You
I have
heard
heard
it?
of it.
I think this is very very good technique to save time and save stress. There are very nice apps for this Pomodoro technique or for planning the day so that one's stress is less. Now, when I started to get some students and some more busy daily regime in Showman, now I have moved, so it will be very different these days. But I started to use some app in iPod to be more clear about what I'm actually doing during the day, and it helps. I think the most apparent outcome is that I know that I'm doing that what I want to be doing, and that's very peaceful. That's very nice because I know that something's happening. I know that what I wanted to do today is being done, and this way I'm a little bit like settled. I'm like sure that things will happen. So if you try this, I think it can help. Stress is very exhausting, and then if you're exhausted, you need to sleep more, and then you don't have time for meditation. So it's going, like a vicious cycle. You are stressful, and then you have to sleep. Therefore, you cannot meditate. Because you cannot meditate, you are stressful. Therefore, you cannot sleep, and therefore you cannot meditate again. So it's like this. But we can get out of that cycle by this Pomodoro technique or by some app where we, like plan what we want to do today and then see thing after thing how they are being done, and therefore trying to find or being able to find some 15 minutes somewhere here and there in between so that we can do some sitting meditation. I think this is of course different from person to person. So, for example, if you are working in a supermarket, then you have to be, there. In Czech Republic, you would be working, let's say 4 hours. Then you get 30 minutes free, and then 4 hours you work again, or 3.5 hours. And then you go. So if you are working as a cashier, then you cannot say, wait a moment, I'll take 15 minutes meditation. That's not working. But there may be some other cases, such as if the person has their own office, or anything, then they can schedule 15 minutes here and 15 minutes there, and therefore postpone any visitors for 15 minutes. I'm sure that 15 minutes is not a serious time for waiting, especially if you have published that at that particular time you're not available.
Yeah.
Now, how do you think that would be working in your profession?
Yeah, I think it's possible. We used to have a staff mindfulness group in the past where that staff members would meditate together. So I organised that in the past. I think I'm going to I changed jobs in 1 week, so I think I'm going to suggest it once again in my new job. Yeah.
Great.
I'll let you know next week.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's better, really several times during the day, because then the day is more governed by the meditation. If it is just one time, then if you're not free, then sorry, no meditation today. So if it is 2 times or 3 times, even though it's shorter, it's more powerful, because it's not so easy, to excuse from 3 times.
Yeah.
It's not easy to say, I was not free in the morning, I was not free at noon as well, and not even in the evening, then it sounds very strange.
True.
So even if it's 10 minutes, but I myself would recommend 15 minutes at least. Even if it is like 15 minutes, which I think is best, not making 1 hour together, just 3 times, 15 here, 15 there, 15 elsewhere. And this is very powerful for me, and I think it's very good.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, because you mentioned last week that the habits of not being mindful are so strong that even if you sit for an hour, it'll just, the old habits will just come back so quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good advice.
So, as for Gil, I think you had 2 questions, right?
Yes.
Was this the first of them?
Yes, it was. So I've got my other one on my, yeah, 1 second. Okay, so the next question is this. Sorry, I emailed to Michelle, so here it is. Okay, so yeah, again, thanks a lot for answering the question from last week. I think it was really useful, and I have to listen to it again to make to implement your advice. But this week's question is that for the past year, since my time at Chue Min, my main meditation practice has been to, number one, be aware of what's most obvious in my experience, e.g., for example, an unpleasant sensation somewhere, or a feeling of tiredness, and then number two, to examine my attitude to this experience, how I am relating to this experience. Is there aversion to this unpleasant experience? Is there clinging to this positive experience? So that's been my main practice this year, and this is different. This is very different to the practice I've had for the past 10 years. It mainly came from Chue Min. So, although I got very good results with this practice, while I was meditating at Chue Min, I found this practice difficult to maintain in my regular life for the past year, both, in formal and informal meditation practice. So, my question is, for a layperson, I was a monk, obviously, when in Burma, that really supported my practice. So, as a layperson, who's living a very busy life, well, no, life is busy, and like I mentioned last week, lots of social and family obligations, and etc., etc. So, for someone who has this kind of setup, you could call it, I'm wondering whether you think it's better to have a specific anchor in meditation, for example, anapanasati or metta bhavana, as opposed to having, this general awareness practice, which I've been using for the past year.
Yes, I think the general practice is great when you're outside sitting or walking meditation, and then take this sitting or walking meditation for a specific samatha subject or object. That means either metta or watching the breath. Now, although I have experience with the breath, I had a lot of success with metta, so of course I recommend metta. And if the metta is there, the thing is that the metta has the magical effect not like anapana, which has only the concentration and wisdom effect. As for metta, it has both the concentration and wisdom effect and the magical effect as well of being successful, of having smooth life and having good relationships and so on and so on. So metta there is very powerful. And in lay life, when there is not that much space for meditation, I think metta is the best solution for the sitting and walking meditation. And then based on that concentration, based on that mindfulness received through metta, it should be easier to be aware of the mind during the day. Now, what is very good to know is that there are 4 things that we can be aware while we are not doing the meditation in proper. So these are, number 1, observing the body, then observing the feelings, observing the mind, and observing the mental phenomena. Now, when we are observing the body, we should be well aware that now I'm observing the body. So it's possible to spend your day by observing the body in its material sense. So you would be observing the postures or observing the actions that you are doing, or both, of course. Observing when you're speaking, how does the body work when you're speaking, and some time to time be aware of the teeth, of the bones, of the muscles, and so on. And you would do just that. You would never go to the mind. This is very important. Otherwise, you can watch the feelings. So you would be well aware, you would have to make a clear decision to be aware of what is the foundation of mindfulness that you are going to follow during that day already in the morning. So in the morning, you can decide, so now throughout the day I will be aware of the feelings. Therefore, it's not possible for you to move to anything else because you decided that you'll be aware only of the feelings. If you did, it would be confusing and you may lose all of the meditation because the mind simply would not be able to do it all. You can decide to be aware of the mental states. So there are 16 mental states, and therefore you would be aware only of those 16 and of nothing else. Then you can be aware of the mental concomitants or mental phenomena. So you would be aware of the 5 hindrances and 6 senses and 7 factors of enlightenment. That's very powerful. Of course, there are some others, but these 5 senses, 5 hindrances, 6 senses, and 7 factors, that's easier to follow. They're not that difficult. So it's necessary to choose and to be clear aware of it. And this is one of the sampajanyas. When we are following the meditation in the Buddhist, according to the Theravada Buddhist instruction, it's most successful or most appropriate if we have both the sati and the sampajanya. Sati is the mindfulness, sampajanya is called clear comprehension. And clear comprehension is not just that we know what we are doing is appropriate and that it's suitable and that is the right thing to do at this moment in this circumstance, but also that we know what is the mindfulness, what is the foundation of mindfulness that we are now following, and that we are actually mindful. So now I have very quickly listed all of the 4 sampajanyas. So if we are not aware of the foundation of mindfulness that we are following, if we are not aware whether we are mindful or not, then the sampajanya is not complete. And I think that's what makes the sampajanya different from ordinary person. Because ordinary person, of course, knows that, if they are going to urinate, then of course they will not urinate outside the toilet, they will urinate in the toilet. Or if they are eating, they will not be eating while they are driving, or while they are at the toilet or anything like that. They will, ordinary persons are expected to know what is appropriate, what is suitable, and what is the best thing to do at the appropriate situation. What makes the Buddhist practice special is exactly the second pair of the sampajanya. That means be aware of what is the foundation of mindfulness that I'm following, and am I really following it? Am I really mindful? So with this, I think you would be more supported in your practice, because in the morning, at the first place, you need to decide what is that you're doing. And with that decision, you are clear, you're like assured that today I'm going to watch only feelings, pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. And there is no more, hesitation. When you are going to watch the mind, then you know exactly what it is. And therefore you do not need to worry that maybe now I actually didn't watch what I had to watch. So with this, you could do samatha practice during the sitting and walking meditation, and then outside the sitting and walking meditation, you would do one of the 4 foundations of mindfulness. And you could make it more interesting, by changing them every day. So you can decide one day in the morning, okay, so let me see, today I will watch only postures and nothing else. So you would just be aware of, when you're standing, when you're sitting, when you're walking, when you are lying down. So you would be always aware of those postures and what's happening with the body when you're in those postures. So is there some flexing of the hand, or stretching of the hand, or flexing of the leg, or stretching of the leg, and see how this meat and bones are changing their shape or their position, posture. Then other day you can decide, okay, let me just watch feelings, and you would be just watching pleasant, unpleasant, neutral feelings. I think maybe it's easier, if you have just like 2-3 things to watch, because then the mind can easily switch between them. As soon as you would come to the mental states, like 16 mental states, then that may become confusing. So how do you feel about that? Would you like to try that?
I already am. It's good. Yeah, I'm doing it as you're speaking. It's good. But the question I have also is, so with the awareness, do you think, I guess there's awareness, right? There's like, okay, I know now, I'm sitting and talking to you, I'm fully aware that this is happening and I'm present. But do you think it's helpful to also check, Sadhu Tejani always says, check with yourself, what your attitude is. So it's like, I'm not sure whether awareness on its own, without checking, whether there's defilements in the awareness, is sufficient. In other words, should we always check, okay, there's awareness, I'm doing this, and also, is there clinging, is there aversion behind this? Or is it too much?
Yeah, I think that in lay life this would be too much. You can check the attitude as you're meditating, or if you decide to reflect on what you are doing. But I think most powerful checking of attitude is when things get get more intensive. If there is intensive pleasure or intensive happiness, intensive peace, or intensive anger, or intensive greed, or anything like that, then check actually what's behind that so that you would solve it. So always checking attitude, I think, would be unnecessarily confusing. And at a certain point, let's say after stream entry and so on, this attitude doesn't need to be checked anymore, because you are always because the attitude is always right. Only the thing is that when the mindfulness is missing, then of course the person can get angry or greedy and so on. But that's just because the person is unmindful. Then as soon as the person is mindful, because the attitude is always pure, then it's easier. In lay life, even as a yogi, the attitude, I believe, is pure simply through the decisions. You would decide, okay, so today I'm going to watch feelings, and you already know that you just let them be. You let them arise and pass. And if you find yourself not letting them be, then just remind yourself, okay, hey, wait, they are impermanent, and am I now actually not watching how they are impermanent? And with that, improve the attitude. I don't think that always checking attitude is necessary, because the right attitude should be there always. Therefore, checking it would be, it doesn't seem to me necessary at all. You would always check attitude only when you are not sure whether what happens is right. So you would check, for example, there would be somebody and you would be angry with them, and you would think, this is a really bad person, and I need to take a baseball bat and smash them. Then before you would do that, you would check, hey, wait, so what's my attitude? Okay, when it gets more intensive, then it's the right time. But it's for both sides. Number one, for the negative side, and number two, for the positive side. So if you feel that you're really happy, that you're really peaceful, that things are going well, really joyful, look at that, I'm mindful, and I'm speaking and I'm mindful, I'm in the present moment, then at that moment it's good to check the attitude once at a time, let's say once an hour, or depends on how often and how long are the intensive states, so that you know that there is no attachment. Because if somebody comes and they disturb you, if the attitude was wrong, then of course you get angry. But if the attitude was right, then when you lose that joy, when you lose the peace or solitude or anything, then of course you don't get angry even when others disturb you.
Thank you.
All right, so it seems like Gil's questions are answered.
Thank you.
Good.
That was very helpful for me too.
Okay, everyone. Thank you, Bante.
Okay, glad to see you.
Sadhu, sadhu.
All right. So may you be happy. Okay, may you be happy, and may you soon attain the eternal bliss of Nibbana.